This television view from the middeck of Columbia, coming through another developmental test objective being carried for the first time on board STS-73, referred to as HI-PAC, the highly packed digital television that allows up to 6 different channels to be downlinked to the Earth, allowing the researchers for the U.S. Microgravity Laboratory to view the results of multiple experiments simultaneously. And this television view again being sent down to the Earth through that HI-PAC television system.
The surface tension-driven convection experiment is a cylindrical container that is filled with a silicon oil. This container can then be heated on the surface by either a carbon dioxide laser or heated in the center of the chamber.
In case you wanted to reduce that rotation more rapidly than just letting it die out, you can always, of course, go the opposite direction and try to slow it with the torque and then go back to an intermediate setting.
Okay.
But I promise I'm not being impatient.
Well, I'm always willing to hear suggestions.
Spacelab Huntsville for Fred, a heads up. We're going to change the IR imager range for a moment, and then we'll switch it back.
Okay, copy that. And the thermistor is in between a couple of marks, so let's make that 0635. 0635.
We copy 0635. Spacelab Huntsville for Fred.
Yeah, we've got good GATV audio and visual now.
The voice now on the GATV channel.
That's clear. That's, as a matter of fact, it's probably even a little more clear than the air-to-ground.
Okay, excellent. Well, let's start into our discussion this morning. We have here the Falcon team on Orbit 3, Rob Kelso, the flight director, sitting right behind me. And we just thought we'd talk a little bit about the status of the flight this morning. It's a pretty quiet day down here in MCC. There are not a lot of problems being worked, as you know. And I thought I'd just ask you about how the routine was settling in on here, your third full day in orbit. Could you tell me how you've arranged the sleeping quarters up there for the duration?
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one there. We've got the sleep station set up, so there's 4 stations and 7 people, so 3 of us hot rack. And being a Navy person, that means that 3 of the sleep stations are almost always in use except for the turnover periods. And then the commander has his own sleep station, so he has kind of a locker he can store his stuff in as well.
Do you find that during the shift handovers you're getting a lot of time to pass news back and forth, or do you just sort of pass like ships in the night there?
We're getting better. I guess the first handover seemed maybe a little bit rushed, but the last couple days it seems like we've had plenty of time for the turnover. And actually, I'll let Sox answer that for you because he's doing the majority of the turnover work.
Is the awake time split sort of at the beginning and end of each shift so that the overlaps are evenly split, or are they all front-loaded or end-loaded?
Well, of course, at the beginning of the flight, we were pretty front-loaded, I guess. But we set it up that way on purpose due to our sleep shifts. Now we have a real nice setup, 2 hours pre and post sleep for everybody. And this morning we even got together for a little crew meeting for about 10 minutes during handover.
Copy that. And how are the meals working out? Are you able to take a break together in the middle of the day for the whole shift?
We manage to do that every once in a while, but rather than eating according to the planned times, we're all sort of grazing as the day goes on, probably 4 or 5 meals a day. I'm sure Rob would like that.
That's about the way we're eating down here, Sox.
Yeah, can't eat too much.
Well, food equals sleep. Rob's going to give you a status of the
Right.
MCC and the team here.
Good morning, Sox.
I sure like your ties.
We, as you can probably tell, this is our first shift with you after the great launch you guys had the other day. We worked all those 4 or 5 pre-launch shifts, and so it's extra special for us to come in this morning and have you already flying and doing such a great job.
Yeah, those pre-launch shifts are tough. I've worked a couple of those, and it feels really good when the orbiter goes off and you get to go home.
Flying over Houston the last couple of days, you could probably tell we had some tremendous weather in Houston, and of course this weekend was the wings over Houston, and the Navy and the Blue Angels did just spectacular with some incredible acrobatics. So the Navy had a proud day this weekend in Houston.
All right, well, great, Rob. We love watching the Blue Angels. Sorry we missed them. They're always a good show. We got some good pictures of Houston, I think, when we were flying over, and for the first time I was actually able to spot JSC. The air was so clear. Couldn't find my house, though.
Well, we're looking at the plot board here. It looks like you're coming up on another pass in a few minutes over the Houston area, so maybe you'll have another opportunity for that.
Okay, well, we'll give it a shot.
The only thing that we're kind of tracking here, Sox, we're still looking at the main landing gear tire pressures and temperatures with the port door slightly closed, and the pre-flight predictions and the real-time data are running pretty close, and it looks like, at least for the next few days, that we're thermally in good shape. And we're going to be talking with Harry Chang and the thermal people a little later today, but things look like that's going well and as we had predicted.
All right, Rob. Well, that's good news.
Sox and Rommel, if you look behind Rob here on the screen, you can see Rich Jackson, the guy who got you off the ground the other day after many attempts. And he's happier than anybody, I think, to see you guys in orbit.
And you'll notice you made the tie comment.
Yeah, where's your tie? I thought everybody was supposed to wear a tie in MCC.
I think we made an exception to the dress code today for Rich.
That's why Jackson's not part of the
he
team
deserves
today.
a break after all those launch attempts.
He copies that. And the room just had a good laugh when you teased him about his tie.
Hey, I got one question for you, Rich. When we took off the other day, I called into roll, and I didn't hear any response. And then I called roll program and didn't hear anything. The first call we heard was go throttle up. Just wondered if you guys had heard my calls, or if maybe we were transmitting through the cloud or the plume or something.
Sox, the word from Rich here is that we may have just had a misconfig on the ground system down here for the first two calls. We heard all of yours crystal clear, and obviously we didn't get up to you until after the go at throttle up call.
Okay, no sweat. We weren't going to turn around or anything.
Not at that point. The camera angle at liftoff showed the view straight onto the orbiter from the end of the flame trench, and you guys were buried in a big white steam cloud for about the first 5 to 10 seconds of the launch, and then Columbia just came up right out of the cloud. It was really a dramatic way to send you guys off.
Yeah, we saw that on the uplink video on the KCA. It was really impressive. We appreciated getting that.
Well, how's the view been from orbit? I know your attitude points the payload bay windows down at the Earth, and I wonder if you've seen any particular favorites of yours on your circuits around the globe.
Well, this attitude makes some things a little bit hard. The payload bay door sort of obscures the terrain that's coming in, so it's we have to really think ahead if we want to try and catch any nadir shots. What seems to work best is looking north of track out the overhead windows and getting things at 20 or 30 degrees. I've been amazed how much we see to the north, though, especially Lake Michigan, Chicago, Lake Erie and Cleveland. We've got great views of those. And Spain and Europe have been pretty fantastic, too.
Yeah, the Indians are coming back to play in Cleveland with the Braves. I guess they're down 2-0 right now. So you'll be able to watch some of the night game action probably later this week. Any tropical storms left in the Atlantic we should watch out for?
Well, we haven't seen any of them.
It's amazing. I think it's finally dying down.
Lots of clouds out there. Seems like there's more clouds over Africa than I remember from previous flights. Lots of big storms. Hope they're getting a little rain over there.
It's been great in Houston. We've had a great high-pressure system sitting over us, and the weather's been fantastic. It's a shame that you're in orbit and not enjoying the few weeks of good fall weather we get down here. Want to trade?
Yeah, that's a real shame. We've got some pretty good weather on board, though. Clear skies, and the temperature's just perfect now since we adjusted the temperature controller. So we're having plenty of fun up here. I think it'll be okay if we miss a little bit of the Houston fall.
And it sounds like a great environment to work in. You've got a lot of room to rattle around in, and it's got a great team, obviously, meshing together up there. You guys hit the ground running, and we've been very, very pleased with how well the timeline's been working out. You guys have been hitting everything right on time, and it seems like the payload ops as well as the orbiter ops have been extra smooth this flight.
Well, good. I think that is due in a big measure to the folks who did the planning pre-flight. The paces seemed just about right for all of us on board. I think another thing that helped us was that we were just a little bit lucky. Happened to get 5 new guys who are just natural space people. They're really looking good up here.
And that's obvious from what we can see. The laboratory ops in the back are just like you would imagine in a laboratory down here on the ground. We're tweaking, making some fine adjustments, but the overall scope of the experiment seems to be working along just fine. And I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of that in the years ahead. So you guys are really showing us what it's going to be like in just a couple of years with Alpha.
Well, good deal. I think this two-way video capability is going to be something neat that they'll enjoy, too. It's really nice to see your faces and see your lips move while you're talking to us. There's always a little bit more that can be carried in expressions and hand motions than you can capture over the air-to-grounds.
That's true, Sox. And we just got a call from Moscow and Mission Control over there with Jim Weatherby this morning, and everybody's watching your flight with great interest on that side. All the folks in our office over there are watching 73, and they're very pleased and proud of your performance.
Well, great. Glad to hear it. Pass them our best wishes. And I know they're glad to get us in the air so that we can get 74 launched here, get those guys flying up to the mirror to say hello.
That's right. We're looking forward to that as well, but I think we've got another 2 weeks of fun with you folks before that happens, and we'll be ready for 74 in time on the 11th.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to the rest of the flight. Don't think you can spend too much time in orbit. I know I can. I can't get enough of the view and the floating around. And we just continue to feel better and better up here. So let's hope it keeps going that way. And Columbia, geez, the guys on the ground who prepped this ship sure did a great job. It's just humming right along. I know people say things about Columbia, about it being jinxed and having a lot of problems, but you sure wouldn't know it here from our point of view up on orbit. It is just a super spaceship.
She may be the oldest ship in the fleet, but it's obvious she's been maintained very well, and it's the cleanest ship that you could hope for on orbit on this flight, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. Shoot, Tom, well, it's been fun talking to you guys, but I guess we better get back off to work. You got enough video and information for the GATV guys?
Yeah, if you'll stand by one, I just want to do one more config test here, and we'll wrap it up after that. Stand by one.
All right.
Columbia, Houston, just to close off GATV, I'm now transmitting on air-to-ground 1. Could you give us a report on the voice quality?
Yeah, that's it's loud and clear, but it's not as good as what we had a minute ago. It's just a little bit more grainy, if that's a decent description.
I understand. Some of that is probably due to my throat this morning. But we'll try this config out again later in the flight, I hope, and on other flights with the families. This capability is going to be great for us. Thanks a lot for talking to us and spending some time on the air, and we'll talk to you on the regular loops.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and you're right. This would be really neat with our families. Bye-bye.
Spacelab Huntsville for Kathy. No need to respond, but we are currently waiting on approval to tips up the IFM to shim the X-axis video camera to correct this problem where it's currently slightly below center. And as soon as that gets tipped up to you, you can go ahead and start. But we want you to start this before you finish the RP1 instrument bay activation.
In Spacelab Huntsville for Al, be advised we have KU band coverage back, and STDCE really likes that image.
Copy that.
Now, as we heard, with KU band signal capability, we're again back into bringing multiple channels of video to the ground. And we have two types of video coming from the surface tension-driven convection experiment currently.
Would like to come back in the module on TVC2 with your permission.
This live video now showing us some dramatic gyrations by a drop of liquid, which is currently deployed in the drop physics module. And now we're taking a 90-degree different view of it. It's shaped much like a pancake now, oscillating in one dimension, primarily in
DPM said you can reduce the Z drive level to 8 volts if you want.
And so below the spacecraft we have basically broad ocean areas with a few scattered high clouds. Columbia on its 51st orbit now, out of what's planned as a 255 orbit mission, and flying, continuing to orbit the Earth in a gravity gradient attitude, where the tail of the spacecraft is towards Earth and the nose remains pointed towards deep space. And now with a little camera switching, we can take a look at its payload bay door, the one which is partially closed. That payload bay door being directed, be the one which is in the velocity vector orientation. A new view, new type of view, since this is the first mission where we routinely have been keeping a payload bay door partly closed like this.